For the people that mix on 2 tracks, we could go Pro Q3 or any dynamic EQ, or you can go a multi-band compressor. On the 2 track, you're limited to what you can do because the beat is already mixed and mastered. Your vocals aren't competing with the 808s. Your vocals are not competing with the hi-hats. And 9 times out of 10, your vocals are not competing with the snare. They're going to be competing with the melody, whether it's the synths, the keys, the guitar, whatever the instrumental sound is. In this case, it's this weird little dun 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 dun. I'm going to over-exaggerate it so you can hear what I'm talking about. We have to be able to carve some of that out so we can have some room for our vocals to sit. No, I'm coming right back. See, that's taking too much. This is the part that you really want to mess with because this is the dynamic range. So this is gonna push down whatever is here to make room for your vocals to stand out. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Then we go to our second EQ, which is gonna be on our Vox, and all we're gonna do is just boost wherever we just hit the dynamic range. We're just gonna boost that there to do some feathering so we can have those vocals cut through. So now let's get to the multi-band because this is the one I really prefer. Let's turn the multi-band on, we hear the difference. No, I'm coming right back. You see how it kind of like drowns that out right there? Again, we don't want to go too deep in there. No, I'm coming right back. And the beautiful thing about this is I could do a lot of different things at one time. So I got the band 2, which is going to be our hi-hats and our snare. I kind of got that going on an expander, so it's boosting it up, right? So it's making that louder, go up. And then you see I got the same thing going on with the low end because I don't want to take away some of that low end. So the stuff that I might be losing in those lower mids, I make up for it here because it's not necessarily just carving out room for the vocals. We're trying to make it sit like they belong inside of the beat. Because if you don't have the stems or the track outs, this is one way that you can kind of shape the beat enough to where you can have some space for your vocals to fit inside the beat, you know, because people don't necessarily want them to sit overly on top of the beat. They kind of want them inside the beat, and this is kind of one way that you could go about it. And then with that, all I would do is just blend that, right? So, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Because you never really know how loud you want your snare to be. Because I know some people that be like, okay, I want my vocals to be balanced with the snare, or I want the snare to be a little bit higher than my vocals, or you want your vocals to sit right on top of the snare. It's completely up to you on how you want to do that. So the second method might be the best method if you can't get the stems, and it's going to be an AI stem splitter. This is where most artists go wrong because mixing vocals is already hard. But trying to mix the vocals and stems and put them together, it's very, very hard. But it's fun because it gives you the most control. First, we're gonna look at the melody. No, I'm coming right back. You see how it's sitting right here? So what I'm gonna do for the melody, we're just gonna carve that out, like I said, beginning, because there's no really high end to the melody at all. So if I pull this up, we can hear this. No, I'm coming right back. Don't really get nothing there, so we're not missing nothing there. So what we could do, we can just pull that down because that's just taking up room for no reason. And then when I'm mixing with the 808s and the drums, it's like, okay, I want to put the vocals on top of the 808. I want to glue those things together as closely as possible. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. So we good on the 808s because you see we can roll that off because we don't really need all of that there. The thing is like, how much do we want the lead vocal to sit with this right here? No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Okay, and then same thing with the hi-hats right here and the snare. Remember what I told you? Me personally, in this instance, I want my snare to be a little bit louder than my vocal or somewhat to be balanced there. No, I'm coming right back. And like, I know my snare. Mixing to a 2-track don't give you this because you're stuck with what they gave you already. But in this case, I can go in, let's say I don't want the snare to be hidden that hard or be that loud. I can just literally go in and turn it down. No, I'm coming right back. But I can also make it sound a little bit louder. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Just a personal preference for me. Now I got more control. Same thing for the hi-hats. Let's say I want the hi-hats to be a little bit more out there. see the hi-hats are right in this little range. No, I'm coming right back. Or we can turn it down. No, I'm coming right back. It depends on what we want to do and how we want to shape that. Because now your vocals, you can work your vocals in around the beat together. You're mixing everything together. Because right here it could be no I kick. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. You see what the kicks are hitting, like right here in this range right here. I'll just show you. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. And then you could just, again, adjust your vocals accordingly. Because it's like now we got a wides right here, so like these are runs. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. And so we got the beat bus. We can turn it up, or we can turn it up. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. If the vocal's too loud. No, I'm coming right back. And again, this right here might be hitting too loud. We turn that down individually. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. Again, and then they're all going through a SSLG bus compressor. So it's really up to us on how we want to do it. So right here, it's like the vocals are loud, right? But they're lower than the beat. So this is at negative 5.7 and the beat is at negative 3.4, which means the beat is going to be louder than our vocals. But is it really? No, I'm coming right back. And that's just on the 808s. So now when we bring in the melody, we get this. No, I'm coming right back. Girl, you know I'm coming right back. But I want my vocals to be louder than the melody. So what I'm going to do is just going to turn down the melody. No, I'm coming right back. I turned it down. I didn't take it away. And again, we can go back in and EQ it some more to shape it and mold it more. That's why I be saying, like, with EQ, you can do a lot of different things. Because you don't have to be stuck with what the producer did to the beat. If you split the stems or if you buy the track outs, it's completely up to you. But you got to understand this. Doing the stem method is going to give you a lot of control. And you got to make sure you know what you want and know what you're doing. Because once you get your vocals the way that you want them, it's up to you to kind of set all the other instruments and elements accordingly. But if you have your vocals sitting on top of the 808 and they're glued there, you're going to be good. Put the melodies around it, in a sense. Create the space around it. Because that's the only way to kind of put your vocals inside the beat, is understanding where you want them inside the beat. Because me personally, I always want the snare kind of sitting on top of my vocals personally. But let me know in the comment section below, do you prefer mixing with the track outs, the stems, or the 2-track?